Every day in America, there are 2,363 children whose lives are taken through abortion. Live Action has created the 2,363 campaign to help inform the public of the horrific reality of the abortion on demand industry, what this actually does, and to offer resources to ensure that children are protected. Joining me now to discuss this campaign and the upcoming fights headed to the Supreme Court, my goodness, December 1st is the Mississippi case, is Lila Rose, founder and president of Live Action and author of the book, Fighting for Life, Becoming a Force for Change in a Wounded World. Why has it, Lila, do you think, taken so long for us to have these very frank discussions as to what exactly this procedure entails and really showcasing that to people? Is it because we thought that maybe it was, maybe not for the lack of a better way to put it, not for polite society, and we had to be, mind our P's and Q's? I mean, what did it take? Why did it take us so long?
Well, I think there's two things. I think the first, you're absolutely right. Abortion, no one wants to talk about it. And if it's ever talked about by mainstream media or academia, it's from this lens of supposed women's rights, when it's really the taking of an innocent life, and it doesn't advance women, it hurts women. But the other part of it is it takes a willingness to believe that people can change. People do change their minds on abortion all the time if they have correct information. And so that's Live Action's big push behind these videos, behind the 2363 campaign, is the understanding that the truth sets minds free. And when people see the humanity of the preborn child, when they get to actually understand what abortion does to that baby, how it is the suctioning apart of that child, that newly developing child, how it's the tearing off limbs from torso, really horrific, barbaric procedures. When they learn about these procedures, minds change. And we're so thrilled when we release this content, and we just started the campaign this week. We can tell, we test it, we research it. We've been doing this for now over a decade, determining how do we actually really educate people to get them to move on this issue. And we found that 62% of people who watch this content, they see abortion more negatively. It's like the light bulb goes on. And then 10% of the hardcore pro-abortion folks move to pro-life, move to wanting to support legal protection for the preborn. So it's amazing to see that public opinion shifts can happen. They do happen if we have the willpower to take it out into the public square, have the hard conversations, and do the educational work.
But one of the things, too, and why I think this is so important that this movement is run by a young woman, and other young women are giving voice to it, because society, as you were mentioning, with media and with Hollywood, entertainment, A&E, women are told that they're empowered and that they are strong enough to make decisions, but apparently they're not empowered enough or strong enough to raise a child or deal with a circumstance that maybe perhaps they plan for later on in the future, but it's happening right now. And then, of course, young men are kind of absolved of responsibility. I think it's really done so much damage to women's self-esteem and confidence and security overall. What can people do to push back on this? I realize having people be accountable for their behavior, and obviously choice before conception, but this idea, this damaging idea that women aren't actually strong enough to do what nature and their bodies intend. How do you respond to that and fight that in society?
Listen, our difference to men, what does it mean to be a woman? It means we have the potential to be a mother. And that's usually biological, or it's like a spiritual, mentorship motherhood. There's all kinds of ways that lives out. To attack the core of the essence of the feminine, to say that your motherhood is a curse, it's a burden, it's not a blessing. To say your pregnancy is a burden, it's not a blessing. That's what society has done with the abortion industry. It's taken this horrifically negative view of children, of motherhood, of women, and they've packaged it, as you said, Dana, as empowerment. They've packaged it as, this is the pathway to women's advancement, that you have the right to crush your children while you try to pursue success. How dare they? How dare they tell us as women that we're not strong enough to embrace motherhood, to embrace vulnerable life and protect it, and also be strong and go out into the world and make our mark and make a difference. The real empowering message here is the pro-life message. And if you're a feminist today, if you believe in so-called women's rights, you're going to fight for the most endangered group of women, which are women in the womb, girls in the womb who are being killed every single day by the tens of thousands globally. So that is the ultimate message of the pro-life movement. It is empowerment of women, and it's true equality for all people, as seeing them all as equal under the law. They all deserve human rights.
Amen to that. All right, so Lila, big cases coming up before Supreme Court December 1st, the Mississippi case, and a lot of people have been fighting over, of course, the Texas 6-week law as well. What are you anticipating with the courts? It's been kind of difficult to predict where the court is going to go, and I know some people have been disappointed at the slow kind of response and action that they've seen. What are you thinking is gonna happen come December? How do you anticipate this going?
Yeah, I mean, it is hard. How do you get into the minds of 9 justices who are supposed to be tight-lipped anyways on this? But we know that we have 5 justices on the court who have indicated that they are in support of constitutional basic human rights, which include, under the 14th Amendment, the right to equal protection under the law for all people. That's what the 14th Amendment says. And it says that no state shall deprive the right to life, the right to live, without any due process. Well, preborn children shouldn't be deprived the right to live. States are sanctioning abortionists to kill children for profit. That violates the 14th Amendment. So I'm hopeful, very hopeful, as the pro-life movement is right now, that with the 5 sort of originalist justices that seem to care about the Constitution, you could call them more conservative, that they will be intellectually honest and that they'll take this Dobbs v. Jackson case, Mississippi trying to ban abortion at 15 weeks, and they will uphold it's actually the job of the state to protect the rights of their citizens. And so I'm hopeful that when December 1st comes and goes and the ruling is decided next year, that there will be a big blow to Roe v. Wade and the unjust, illogical precedent of Supreme Court cases to date. That will be a big pro-life victory.